Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your August 22 horoscope. My name is Alexander Creek. I'm an astrologer and intuitive. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have a pretty juicy month. And right off the bat, August kind of gets off to a pretty crazy start. So we have a conjunction of Mars, the planet of action, energy, and conflict, as well with Uranus, the planet of sudden disruptions and awakenings, with the North Node of Fate all happening in your ninth house of your beliefs, your higher education, long distance and foreign travel, and spirituality. So I feel like there's going to be like radical new energy in this area of your life, really ramping up around July 31st and August 1st. So Uranus, that planet of disruption and awakenings, has been in your ninth house since 2018. So, since then we can be shifting. I feel like you've had a lot of shifts in perhaps your worldview or your beliefs around it, just really around your beliefs in general, but especially around like things like religion, philosophy, spirituality, or perhaps just there's just been some sort of a lot of changes in regards to like long distance travel or higher education, expanding your mind. And also the ninth house does rule publishing, broadcasting, and like teaching as well. So a lot of like radical kind of unconventional energy happening in your chart since 2018, but especially the past like year or so, just because of some various aspects and some eclipses. You are having eclipses this year in Taurus and Scorpio, and that is falling in that third and ninth house axis in your chart. So a lot with learning, studying, communication, your beliefs, travel, a lot of energy around those things. Wow, I cannot talk. Jesus Christ. Okay. Also, that's my cat, if you notice my kitty behind me. So this Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction that's happening on the 31st and August 1st, I kind of see it as anything from sudden pivots or opportunities or awakenings with any of those topics in the ninth house that I described. So mind expansion, spirituality, your beliefs. It's like that part of your chart is getting like this injection of this sort of like radical energy, like taking the bull by the horns, sudden awakenings. And this kind of feels like this sort of like you're really, really evolving in those various topics in your life especially around those dates. Those dates are going to get this like really kind of big bolt of electricity going through that point in your chart. So I would just really pay attention to what's going on in your life in those dates and also in the world as well, just because there's apt to be, I just feel like shocking or unexpected. Maybe like I would just kind of pay attention to the news at that time too, just because you want to kind of notice what's going on in the collective as well. But again, I just feel like shifts in beliefs or things involving education, spirituality, travel. August 11th, we have Venus entering Leo for the rest of the month. That happens to be, so Venus is a planet of love, harmony, beauty, money, pleasure, relationships. And that is going to be spending some time in your 12th house for the majority of the month. So it's going to bring more pleasure and more harmony to the most hidden part of your chart. So anything to do with rest and retreat and mental health and like checking in, like it's anything with like mind and body connection and, what's going on in your psyche and your subconscious. It's sort of encouraging you to spend more time doing those things, like in the backyard, if you have a backyard, right? Like enjoying a book, like peace, serenity, those kinds of things. The thing is, Venus is going to be opposing Saturn. Saturn is the planet of like discipline, delays, boundaries, restrictions, commitment. That has been in your sixth house of health, bodily health, and work, like work routines and work, kind of how you spend your days, like working or toiling, essentially, is like what the sixth house is, along with health. So Saturn has been there since late 2020. So you might have been having some health challenges or some challenges in work and just feeling like there's a lot of commitment and restriction and just a lot of like burden energy in those topics. Because Saturn is asking you to kind of get realistic, get serious, and there can be a feeling of heaviness associated with those topics, and also with animals and pets as well. It falls in the sixth house. That's been in your sixth house since the end of 2020. We'll be spending time there until March 2023, where it will be moving on finally. So Venus is going to oppose Saturn just for the duration of this month. So while you're going to get, I think, some respite and some healing, in these kind of private rest kind of things, you could also just be aware of your commitments also too. You could be aware of commitments within your work or within your health. And like, there's just this feeling of like, yes, we get respite and pleasure, but also there's this feeling of seriousness that comes with it because it is going to be opposing Saturn. So you'll, I think, notice the dichotomy with those two energies kind of all month. The very next day, August 12th, we have a full moon in Aquarius that lands in that sixth house. So this full moon does feel more of a serious energy. Because a full moon is completion, culmination, awareness, news, a spotlight on something in your life. This full moon is conjunct Saturn, so there is like this heavier feeling, or this feeling of commitment or delays, or just feeling of like, I have to like push through all this like red tape kind of energy. And that's going to be in your sixth house of it could be health, bodily health, or it could be having to do with work. Just like, I'm having to take on more responsibility at work, or I'm taking on more responsibility or commitment in my health, something like that. Or it could just be a feeling of, a little bit of like restriction or delay, but that will pass, as cycles always do. I'm going to say you could be feeling a little bit, there's maybe like a feeling of impatience with this full moon as well too. Just a feeling of impatience, or just like, God damn it, I want the thing already. So just kind of note that as well. August 20th. Let's see, August 20th. Hold on. August 20th, planet Mars, a planet of action, of energy, of heat. It's going to leave Gemini, or it's going to leave Taurus, and it's going to go into Gemini. So Mars usually only spends about 2 months in a sign. It's going to spend about 9 months in Gemini. So that's a very significant transit. And you're going to really feel Mars going into Gemini. So Mars is going to be spending most of that, all of his time in your 10th house of career, of ambition, of authority figures, of public reputation. So I'm going to say, you could be really ambitious, really motivated to make a splash at work. You could be really motivated to kind of pursue your goals and really go after things in your career. I will also say you could be butting heads with authority figures too, because Mars can be conflict and separation and just like heat and just like no fucks kind of energy. So I would watch for that. But sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary to say like, I'm not doing that, to an authority figure or whatever it is, but just note that that's going to be there for quite a while. This could be just butting heads with authority figures, but also motivation, ambition. You're going to have 9 months, 9 months of that energy happening in your 10th house of career. So definitely take advantage of it, or just at least notice it. And notice the propensity to be a little bit more combative with language and words, because Gemini is, the spoken word, it's writing, that kind of thing. So you could also just be taking advantage of this. I would say with Mars and Gemini, and given that you are your sign is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is about communication. If you need to have some sort of argument or conflict or something, I'd write some of that down first, like organize your thoughts, like write it down in a journal or something, just so you can, just because Mars and Gemini is going to exacerbate arguments and things like that. So just keep an eye on that. What else am I talking about? Okay. So we have a new moon in Virgo in the first house. In your first house. Okay, so new moon, so it's like a new beginning, new cycle, reset kind of energy happening in your first house of your whole identity. So that's your time to think about it's like a personal reset for you, because the first house is your appearance, your identity, your personal energy, your attitude toward life. And So this can definitely be again, like a personal reset, maybe a new, it's sort of like, well, who am I becoming? What am I doing now? And this is kind of a green light for new goals, new projects, really anything. So this is a very personal kind of new beginning for you, and potentially a new beginning in your relationships as well, as the first house does oppose the seventh house of relationships. So I would say this is a more bold new moon. This is a new moon that feels a lot more energetic, and it's kind of more of a give no fucks new moon, because this new moon will be square Mars. So it'll be making a hard aspect to Mars, the planet of action energy, in your 10th house of career. So you could just be like, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I think you might be feeling more ambitious around that time. And there's really kind of a bold, courageous energy. Just make sure not to overdo it around that time. Lastly, I forgot to talk about this. Uranus, the planet of disruption and awakening, is going to station retrograde in your 9th house on the 24th. So from the 24th, 25th, you might be feeling more of a review or a feeling of like reflecting, going back over how have my beliefs changed? How has my approach to expanding my mind changed, to my spirituality, to these things that are important to me as far as like religion and spirituality and philosophy, or even political beliefs. You could also just be going back over things relating to travel, relating to broadcasting or communications or learning, something like that. But there's definitely like a review feeling around that time, and it's going to retrograde for quite a few months. But we always really feel when a planet stations retrograde, when it starts to move backwards, or when it stops in the sky completely and it starts to go backwards or forwards, we really feel that. So that's your forecast for the month. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment below with how you're feeling, and kind of, what are you excited about? What's coming up? Let me know kind of what's going on in your life, etc. I do have a Patreon as well that's launching this month. So if you want weekly guidance with the astrology weather, sign up for that. I'm doing also live streams every new and full moon just for Patreon members. So if you want me to look at your birth chart, answer questions like where the new and full moon's kind of doing for you, and kind of talking and just kind of and helping out with mini readings and guidance, etc. The last tier is also personalized monthly forecast delivered to your inbox every month. So if you want detailed guidance about the astro weather kind of affecting your chart, what to do about it every single month, sign up for that. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next month, Virgo. Bye.